Well, hello everyone. The stream should be on now. So, welcome to the nightly version of FlightGear, which I am doing right now. Let me check the stream real quick, just make sure that the mic is activating. Oh, good, it is. So, you're looking at the nightly version of FlightGear, which has a few updates from the last release official version. And if you take a quick look at the graphics here, you can clearly see what has changed. First of all, I finally got photo scenery. Yep, that's the most obvious thing. So, and the other thing that you might notice is that there's actually shadows on the aircraft now. I set the okay, not the weather, but I think I set the time to morning here, so it's 8:47 up here, and because this build has the new compositor framework enabled by default, I actually have the aircraft shadows available, and the performance should increase a little bit. However, as you can see, I'm still like pegged at 30 FPS, which is probably because of all the heavy graphics. And just to answer Valerio, yes, the thing I really am excited to show off today is all the photo scenery, which, if you don't know, is the fact that I am actually using the okay, I am actually using satellite photos here to drape over the terrain in FlightGear. So if you know FlightGear textures, they don't exactly look good, especially compared to MSFS 2020. Well, right now we just drape the satellite photos over, which makes things look a lot better and cursory. And the roads are still OSM, as you can see here, and a few buildings are also popping up, which actually really increases the quality of VFR flight. And if you look here, that's actually an artifact of the photo scenery, and that definitely isn't meant to be here. Okay, and to answer your question, Michael Marshall, unfortunately, the legality of downloading these photo sceneries, the method that we're using right now, is a bit dubious, and in fact, we might overload the server as too many people did this. So if you actually look on the FlightGear forums, there will be a couple of threads for photo scenery. You will be able to find a Python script that will be able to do this for you. I have run it successfully, and that's what I use. However, I'm not going to link to it or do anything like that, because we don't want to overload the server and, get it shut down early. If you see here, because we're using satellite photos, right, no problem, Michael. Because we're using satellite photos, some parts of the coastline aren't exactly aligned well because, FlightGear data is a little bit old and low resolution. So there's a little bit of ocean that crosses in here, but in other words, the sea texture and the mountains actually map pretty well, because that's how this works. Okay, another thing to keep in mind about photo scenery is that this is really heavy in terms of RAM usage. I'm not sure why, but it is. So if this stream falls off, that's probably why. My computer probably has like 600 megs of RAM left, which is not a lot by all standards. So I have actually come across an out of memory situation once while testing this because, I was running a web browser alongside this, and if you know anything about web browsers, you know that they are notoriously heavy. So, yeah. You need to be really careful if you're short on RAM. I have 8 gigs, and that's almost not enough now. Let's go over to helicopter view and fly around a bit. So as you can see here, especially if, okay, look at that road right here. You can the actual road surface that you're seeing here is created out of OSM data. It's just from OSM to city. However, you can see that the buildings alongside it are actually draped on using the satellite photos, and they align pretty well. I mean, if you actually launch up higher, let me go back to helicopter view for a moment, you can kind of not notice it. It does this really well. In fact, you can see where the OSM scenery kind of stops there because uh, because there's a tile boundary, and the person who's generating the scenery took down the OSM to city server tile generation servers before I managed to download them. So you can see that right here there are more examples of stuff not aligning well. I'm pretty sure that was some kind of like alluvial fan. I don't know the geography of this place, but it might be some place where it's under debate whenever what's land and what's not. That's why things are a little bit weird. But as you can see here, this place starts looking a lot more realistic. Once you drape the awful photos in. I'm pretty sure I don't have buildings for this area. I mean, if you remember the Phuket, the tour where I attempted to show off the city of Phuket, that didn't go well at all because it turns out that I'm actually missing the tiles of Phuket City. But if you want to see the city, we're actually flying a bit straight to it. I'm not familiar with this area, so I can't exactly like identify what's here. Kind of the northern part. I don't remember the exact map. Oh, and the keen eyes among you may have noticed that I'm actually using the UFO for this. One factor is that it's really easy to go fast with it, and the other factor is that if I try to load the C172P and the photo scenery at the same time, it will use even more RAM, and I am actually not sure if I can stream alongside that. Well, or otherwise my computer would just crash. Yeah, that's the city right there. And it actually looks really nice over along the mountains too. Okay, stop milling. Let's stop milling about here, and turn back up north. Uh, we're going to take a look around the area just south of the airport where I have a lot of models and I usually do a lot of stuff. That's the northern coast right there. You can see, and the center of the screen right now is actually a bridge that connects Phuket to the mainland. My geography is correct. So as I said before, I'm actually really busy right now. So I just want to show this off on stream because this is really cool, as you can see, and I don't have enough time to make a proper video about it. So I think if I make it as a stream, you guys would understand if the production value is a little bit low. Yeah, the regular content isn't going to come back for a while. Oh, there's the airport. Otto's right over there. I'm actually still taking questions via chat if you're interested. See, shadows are still there. And they're actually generated for, I think, every object in the scene. I'm not sure if it does that for buildings. I'm pretty sure it did. I think in the thumbnail screenshot, you can actually see it generated for the buildings, but I'm not in a good position to demonstrate that here. The one limitation of, offer photos is that it does not actually look correct from the ground. Now, of course, we're in the flight sim, and we won't be down on the ground level really often. But if you just fly around here, this version doesn't have like the maximum building density to save people's graphics cards from burning. So when actually looking from the ground level here, things look really weird, and it becomes really obvious that we're using kind of Google Earth. How do you resize textures? Skip only downloads a tile. How do you get the adjacent ones? So, okay. So the way I got it to work is that I basically had to find the coordinates of Phuket on OSM and then input like a bunch of coordinates into the script just to make sure that I have all the tiles. Yeah, I actually had to improvise like that. The fact of life sometimes. Looks the terrain model's a little bit off because for some reason they decided to make this an elevated highway. This is definitely not an elevated highway in real life. It's just a normal road, but they decided to make it that way for some reason. Okay, next thing is we're going to check out is that I think that Forston, one of the developers of FlightGear, he's the person who made AOS. He's actually quite vocal about not doing photoscenery because it doesn't do dusk and dawn well. So I'm just going to return to this edge of the runway where I took like all of the screenshots, and let's see how it looks. It's probably the spot, and let's stop. Okay. So, a few quick tips for the UFO. You might know that the UFO is the one I use to film a lot of Lord Kitty videos these days because I just am too tired to get FG camera to work. So there's actually a couple of things that you can do. For example, home and end is hover up and hover down, and I use this a ton because I don't want to, pitch the whole thing up by a lot every single time I want to make a high shot. So I just press home and it rises up like this. I mean, I think you can even identify this exact key combination in use in a lot of videos. Yeah, let's go down a bit. Perfect. And zoom out a bit. Go back. Press 5 and pitch camera back down. Right. So, now that we're in position, let's try to adjust the time to various things around and see how things look. First of all, I'm going to pull it up to noon, which should make the shadows disappear. Oh, the AirAsia plane is leaving. There's actually taxiway definitions down here, so things should really work well. And as you can see, the lighting is a lot more warm here. Anyway, so let's just make it dusk all of a sudden. Lighting gets cooler again. And now it's getting dark. As you can see, the runway lights work and the road lights are here. Nicely amber. And the buildings are illuminated fine. The shadows are gone because the sun is down, I guess. So, but the houses, they don't exactly have the light river lights on. And when you go to night, where things get completely dark, the houses don't have lights on. So that's one limitation of ortho photos. They don't exactly have the proper lighting, especially if you're not in the daytime. I'm not sure why this is actually seeing showing a frame rate of 1. It might have to do with like some of the bottlenecks because that's about the rate which the time actually updates. So I hope this isn't like a bottleneck or something like that. So what else should I do here? And that's actually all that I had in mind to look at for now. Going to be a really short stream. Okay, fun thing about this is that in this case, it apparently actually replaces the airport key, but in many places, it actually doesn't. And the airport key is kept, and it actually integrates with the rest of the scenery pretty well. which is always cool to see. The airport? Hope it didn't just crash my computer with this. So yeah, I can't find the airport up here. I know it's in FlightGear. It's just a little bit hard to find. And I think it's actually going to be a lot harder to find here now that I don't have like any highlighting. Is that it? That could be it. So it's about in the right place. Actually, yeah, I actually can't see if this shows it. OSM. I'm actually not sure where the airport is, and I can't like open my browser to check because that would crash my computer. Search for Phuket. Oh, there we go. Phuket Air Park. UTSW. Oh, I hope that doesn't like break my computer. Oh, thank God. Yeah, there's the air park. So let's see how it actually looks. Again, the coastline is a little bit off. And that looks like a bug. I'm not sure what's going on there. In this case, good. Okay. The airport runway seems to be a little bit shorter than real life, to be honest. And the road is still appearing here, looking pretty well, with houses all alongside it. And in this case, oh, is that Z fighting? I just realized that this artifact always happens right next to an airport. Might be some kind of Z fighting. That will be embarrassing. So yeah, at first I actually wanted to see if there's like a building next to the air park because there is no hangar in the actual FlightGear release, and it looks like it's here. Now, in real life, this is a kind of like grass field, which is not a lot of infrastructure around it. Oh, okay. Sometimes you will actually have boundaries like this, which is weird. Okay, I'm actually not sure if the stream is on right now. I will have to restart and check. Oh, the Wi-Fi just got a lot worse all of a sudden. All right, I'm still here. Eh. So yeah, you can see here that this transitions between different photos taken by different satellites, and and the Stitcher didn't particularly do a good job of fixing this, so it broke. And I'm not sure what's going on here. Look like there are some islands with a map at a low resolution in FlightGear, so it doesn't show up as well. There's actually a road from the air park up. It would be really fun if I can like use this to do like VFR flights, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's turning too quickly. Yeah, let's try following this road and see where we go. I want to know if it's possible to, use this road as a bit of a new VFR route. Yeah, it kind of disappears around a power line, which make it a little bit snuffy. Probably some kind of time battery. There we go. And there's actually a plane taking off. Very cool. So if we can actually apparently now that we have a complete model of roads courtesy of the Orpha photos, we can actually fly to Phuket Airport entirely using road references, which is cool. Let's try this once. And also, this might actually give us a better route to Krabi, because one of the big problems there is that it's really hard to find references. Though that's not really a hard problem, so I think the city pair we did last time is a lot more difficult. But I don't actually have much hope there either. I mean, airliners always do stuff anyway. So essentially, we have the entire length of the runway to do a climb up to feasible altitude, maybe 15,000. I mean, in a Cessna, we can kind of look down a little. We can kind of look a little bit down past the nose. So once we're here, we have to turn right and follow this road on this main road on the side of the airport. Turn onto a side road that takes us to the power lines, which is coming up. There we go. I'm actually doubtful if I will be able to notice this road in a Cessna. Go right here. I can see that like one person thought they're going to see something interesting in this stream. Like the funnest thing you're going to see in the stream is the fact that the rain has satellite photos draped on it. So if I remember correctly, we actually have to turn a little bit before we get there. We will turn. For which point should be fairly visible. Or not. Ah, there we go. See, I'm actually in big trouble right now because and it's why the proper route would actually be to turn left and do a pattern and come back down. Because if you're actually approaching using the road, you will be at like 90 degrees to the runway, which is not good. Also, you always turn away toward the ocean because turns out I think there are some trees on the opposite side of the runway that was overgrown, and also independently of that, there's mountains near the other end. So you need to be a little careful. It's not direct to sea either because, as you can see here, the runway isn't exactly like exactly out to sea, but you can see the mountain beyond there that I say. It's probably going to look something like this with a lot cleaner in the Cessna if I want to follow this route, but I think the coastline is a lot cleaner as a follow target. So I guess it. So right. So I guess I end the stream here with a little flight over back to Phuket. I don't exactly want to do much. I just want to fly around and appreciate things. So we see you again in 2 weeks. Hopefully, I think during those 2 weeks I'll be a lot less busy. Hopefully. So I will be able to come up with something that takes a lot longer time to plan. Yeah, no, I just checked my calendar. I will still be pretty busy during that period. So, you see. See what I can do for New Year's. Probably not a lot still, but it's a new year. We have to celebrate somehow. Right, and by the way, thanks for 800 subscribers. It's real. We were hovering around there for a while because I'm losing subs quite a bit, and we just touched 800 before I started the stream. So thanks everyone for supporting my channel and the little things that I do. So your support is greatly appreciated, and you can see that that's what happens when you change back from ortho photos back to the regular FlightGear scenery. There we go. So, see you again in the next 2 weeks for something for the new year. Hopefully something that's a lot less boring than this.